No one in the galaxy expected the words that day. Not the soldiers. Not the leaders. Not even the watchers from distant stars. The Galactic Council Hall was the largest building ever made. It floated in open space, shaped like a silver ring around a glowing blue star. Inside, thousands of alien leaders sat in silent rows. Every powerful species in the galaxy had a seat here. They had gathered for one reason: humanity. Humans were young. They were new. They were loud. They were fast. And most of all, they were unpredictable. For many years, humans had stayed inside their own star systems. They traded. They explored. They built colonies. They did not cause trouble. But now everything was changing. The supreme commander of the Velker Empire stood at the center of the hall. His body was tall and sharp, covered in black metal armor grown from his own skin. His red eyes glowed as he looked across the council. His voice was cold and strong. Humanity has crossed the final line, he said. They expand too fast. They build too much. They grow too strong. The council listened carefully. We cannot allow them to continue, he added. If we wait, they will become unstoppable. A soft wave of whispers moved across the hall. The Velker Empire was ancient. They had conquered hundreds of worlds. When they spoke, the galaxy listened. The Supreme Commander raised one claw. Therefore, he said, the Velker Empire officially declares war on humanity. The hall went completely silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. War. Not a border fight. Not a trade conflict. But full war. Against humans. Some leaders looked shocked. Others looked afraid. A few looked excited. Only one group did not react at all. The humans. They sat together near the edge of the hall. Their uniforms were simple. Their faces calm. No claws. No scales. No glowing eyes. Just eyes. Watching. The human ambassador stood slowly. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. His name was Ambassador Aaron Cole. He had served in wars, peace talks, and disaster zones across human space. He had seen the worst and the best of humanity. He did not look angry. He did not look scared. He looked disappointed. He took a few steps forward. His boots echoed softly on the smooth floor. Then he spoke. Congrats, he said. The word felt strange in the silent hall. You just declared war on humanity. Some aliens made confused sounds. The human ambassador paused, then continued. The deadliest species in the galaxy. A quiet shock spread across the room. Some laughed softly. Others frowned. The supreme commander of the Velker Empire tilted his head. Deadliest, he repeated. You are weak. You are small. You have no natural weapons. The human ambassador nodded. Yes, he said. We are small. We are weak. We have no claws, no armor, no venom, no psychic power. He looked around the hall. But we are still here. No one spoke. He continued. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day. Some aliens looked confused. Our planet had storms that could erase cities, he said. Earthquakes that could swallow towns. Diseases that could wipe out millions. Wild animals that hunted us. He paused. And other humans. A soft wave of tension moved through the room. We fought each other for land, for power, for belief, he said. We survived wars that destroyed nations. We survived weapons that could end the world. The Supreme Commander crossed his arms. So, he said, many species face danger. Yes, the human ambassador replied, but most species evolved in peace. The hall grew quiet again. Humans evolved in chaos, he said. The words echoed. He took a deep breath. We are not strong because of our bodies, he said. We are strong because of our minds. The Supreme Commander made a sharp sound. Enough, he said. Your words do not change reality. Your species is young. You do not understand true war. The human ambassador smiled slightly. Respectfully, he said, we understand war better than most. The Supreme Commander stepped forward. You have never faced a galactic war, he said. No, the human replied. But we have faced extinction. More than once. A deep silence fell. The human ambassador looked around the hall again. Every time we faced extinction, he said, we adapted. The Supreme Commander leaned closer. And what makes you think you will survive this war? He asked. The human ambassador answered, without hesitation, because we always do. A low sound of discomfort spread through the alien seats. The Supreme Commander laughed. A bold claim from a weak species, he said. We will wipe you out in weeks. The human ambassador shook his head. You won't, he said. Why not? The Supreme Commander demanded. Because you think war is about strength, the human replied. But war is about will. The Supreme Commander frowned. Explain, he said. Strength can be broken, the human ambassador said. Weapons can be destroyed. Fleets can be lost. He looked directly at the Supreme Commander. But will, he said, cannot be destroyed. The Supreme Commander made a sharp sound. You believe your will is stronger than ours? He asked. No, the human said. I know it is. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably. The Supreme Commander's eyes narrowed. You speak like a species that has already lost, he said. The human ambassador did not react. We speak like a species that has nothing left to lose, he said. That line changed the room. Some alien leaders felt a strange chill. What do you mean? One of them asked. The human ambassador turned to them. When humans fight, he said, we do not fight to win. A few aliens looked confused. We fight, he continued, to survive. The Supreme Commander laughed again. All species fight to survive, he said. No, the human replied. Some fight to protect their power. Some fight to protect their pride. He paused. Humans fight to protect their future. The Supreme Commander stepped back slightly. What future? He asked. Your species will not have one. The human ambassador's eyes hardened. Then neither will yours, he said. The words felt heavy. Not angry. Not loud. Just final. The Supreme Commander raised his claws. You threaten the Velker Empire? He demanded. No, the human said. I warn you. The Supreme Commander made a sharp sound of anger. You think your warnings matter? He asked. The human ambassador nodded. They will, he said. Soon. The Supreme Commander turned to the council. The matter is decided, he said. The Velker Empire will begin the cleansing of human space. Some leaders nodded. Others looked uneasy. The human ambassador turned and began to walk back to his seat. The Supreme Commander watched him. You walk away already defeated, he said. The human ambassador stopped. He turned slowly. No, he said. I walk away already prepared. The Supreme Commander laughed. You cannot prepare for extinction, he said. The human ambassador smiled slightly. We can, he said. And we have. The Supreme Commander's laughter stopped. What do you mean? He asked. The human ambassador looked at him. Humans plan for worst-case scenarios, he said. We plan for disaster. We plan for failure. We plan for death. The hall grew quiet. When your empire declared war, he continued, you believed this was the beginning. He paused. For us, he said, this is the end. The Supreme Commander frowned. The end of what? He asked. The end of your dominance, the human replied. Some aliens gasped. The Supreme Commander stepped forward. You speak nonsense, he said. No, the human ambassador replied. I speak history. The Supreme Commander tilted his head. What history? He asked. Our own, the human said. He took a deep breath. Every time humans faced an enemy stronger than them, he said, we lost. Some aliens looked surprised. We lost battles, he continued. We lost cities. We lost worlds. The Supreme Commander smirked. And yet you stand here, he said. Yes, the human replied. Because we learned. The Supreme Commander's smile faded. We learned how to fight smarter, the human said. We learned how to turn weakness into strength. The Supreme Commander crossed his arms again. You still die like any other species, he said. Yes, the human replied. But we die slowly. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably. And while we die, he continued, we make sure our enemy dies faster. The Supreme Commander stared at him. "You speak of destruction," he said. "No," the human replied. "I speak of balance." The Supreme Commander made a sharp sound. "Enough," he said. "This council session is over." The lights in the hall dimmed slightly. The alien leaders began to rise. The Supreme Commander turned away. But before he could leave, the human ambassador spoke again. "One more thing," he said. The Supreme Commander paused. "What?" he asked. The human ambassador looked around the hall. "You declared war on humanity," he said. He paused. "You did not declare war on a government." He paused again. "You did not declare war on a fleet." Another pause. "You declared war on a species." The hall was silent. The Supreme Commander turned slowly. "So," he asked. The human ambassador's voice was calm. "When humans fight as a species," he said, "we do not stop." The Supreme Commander stared. "Not until what?" he asked. "Not until the threat is gone," the human replied. "And how do you define threat?" the Supreme Commander asked. The human ambassador met his eyes. "Anything that tries to end us," he said. The Supreme Commander laughed again, but this time his voice sounded less confident. "You think you can erase the Velker Empire?" he asked. The human ambassador shook his head. "No," he said. "We think we can change it." The Supreme Commander frowned. "How?" he asked. "By surviving it," the human replied. The Supreme Commander looked at the human for a long moment. Then he turned and left. The council hall slowly emptied. The human delegation remained seated. No one spoke for several moments. Then one human officer leaned forward. "Sir," she said softly, "did you mean everything you said?" The ambassador nodded. "Yes," he said. "Do you really think they will lose?" she asked. The ambassador looked ahead. "I think they will regret," he said. "Regret what?" she asked. "Starting this war," he replied. Another officer spoke. "Are we ready?" he asked. The ambassador took a deep breath. "We have been ready for a long time," he said. "Then why didn't we stop this?" the officer asked. "Because some wars cannot be stopped," the ambassador replied. "Why?" the officer asked. "Because some enemies must learn," he said. "Learn what?" the officer asked. The ambassador looked at them. "That humans do not disappear," he said. "That humans do not surrender," he continued. "And that humans do not forget." The officers sat in silence. Across the galaxy, the Velker Empire began to move its fleets. Massive warships left their docks. Weapons charged. Troops prepared. The Empire believed the war would be short. They believed humans would fall quickly. They believed history was on their side. They were wrong. Far away on Earth, deep underground, systems came online. Old systems. Hidden systems. Systems built not for peace, but for survival. Human leaders watched screens light up. Maps filled with stars. Fleets changed course. Orders were sent, not with anger, not with fear, but with calm. Human calm. A calm born from centuries of war. A calm born from survival. A calm that only comes when a species knows one truth. This is not their first war. And it will not be their last. The unexpected turning point had already happened. The Velker Empire believed they had started a war. But in truth, they had awakened something much older, much stronger, much more dangerous. They had awakened humanity. The galaxy had seen many wars. It had seen planets burn. It had seen empires rise and fall. But it had never seen a species like humans. After the council session ended, news spread fast. Faster than light. Faster than fear. Every system, every station, every world heard the same message. The Velker Empire has declared war on humanity. Some species celebrated. Some prepared defenses. Some watched quietly. And some prayed. The Velker Empire believed the war would be short. They believed humans would break after the first strike. They believed their fleets were too large, too advanced, too powerful to lose. They did not understand one thing. Humans did not measure war in ships. They measured war in time. And they were very patient. Far from the council hall, on a small human colony called New Horizon, life continued as normal. Children went to school. Workers went to factories. Farmers tended fields under artificial skies. They knew about the war. They were not afraid, not because they were brave, but because they were used to danger. New Horizon had been built on a cold, rocky world. The gravity was heavy. The storms were strong. Life was never easy here. But humans had learned to live in hard places. That was their first secret. They did not run from danger. They adapted to it. In the center of the colony, Governor Elias Monroe stood on a balcony, looking at the sky. Above him, defense satellites moved silently. Deep under the city, bunkers opened. Systems woke up. An officer stood beside him. "Sir," she said, "the Velker fleet is approaching our sector." "How long?" Monroe asked. 3 days, she replied. Monroe nodded. "Then we have 3 days," he said. "To evacuate?" she asked. "No," he replied. "To prepare." She looked at him. "Prepare for what?" she asked. "For them," he said. The officer frowned. "We cannot fight their fleet," she said. "They outnumber us." Monroe looked at her calmly. "We are not here to win," he said. She looked confused. "Then why stay?" she asked. Monroe's voice was quiet. "Because every minute we delay them," he said, "is a minute someone else survives." The officer said nothing. Across human space, the same thing happened. Colonies activated defense systems. Old ships were repaired. Civilian ships were armed. Mining lasers were turned into weapons. Factories changed production. Not for profit. Not for growth. But for war. Yet humans did not rush. They did not panic. They moved with calm. With focus. With purpose. That was their second secret. Humans were slow when they needed to be. And fast when it mattered. The Velker Empire sent its first wave. Thousands of warships. Each ship larger than most human cities. They moved in perfect formation. Cold. Silent. Deadly. Their target was clear. New Horizon. The colony had no major fleet. No major weapons. No strategic value. That was exactly why they chose it. They wanted a message. They wanted fear. They wanted humans to understand what real war looked like. The Velker fleet arrived in the system. Their ships filled the sky. They blocked the stars. They blocked the sun. The colony darkened. On New Horizon, alarms sounded. Not loud. Not chaotic. Just steady. Calm. Citizens moved into shelters. Not running. Not screaming. Just walking. Children held their parents' hands. Parents held their children close. Not because they were afraid, but because they were human. In the command center, Governor Monroe watched the fleet on the screen. "Begin protocol," he said. "Which one?" the officer asked. Monroe looked at her. "Scorched earth," he said. Her eyes widened. "But that will destroy the colony," she said. Monroe nodded. "Yes," he said. "It will." The officer hesitated. "This is our home," she said. Monroe looked at her. "It was," he said. "But now it is a battlefield." She lowered her head. "Begin protocol," she repeated. Deep underground, machines activated. Power systems overloaded. Fusion cores destabilized. Data centers wiped. Factories collapsed. The city began to shut down. Not because it was defeated, but because it was leaving nothing behind. That was their third secret. Humans did not leave gifts for their enemies. The Velker fleet opened fire. Their weapons were powerful. Energy beams struck the surface. Explosions covered the land. Mountains turned to dust. Cities turned to fire. But the colony did not scream. It did not beg. It did not broadcast surrender. Instead, it went dark. Completely. No power. No signals. No life signs. The Velker commanders watched. "Scan for survivors," one of them ordered. Scanners moved. They found nothing. The colony was empty. Destroyed. Dead. The commanders felt satisfied. They believed they had won their first victory. They did not know. The colony had already evacuated. Every citizen. Every child. Every worker. Gone. The colony was not destroyed. It was abandoned. And rigged. As the Velker fleet moved closer to the surface, something changed. The planet's core destabilized. Seismic activity increased. The Velker sensors detected energy spikes. "What is happening?" one commander asked. Before anyone could answer, the planet exploded. Not naturally. Not accidentally. Intentionally. The explosion tore through space. Shockwaves smashed into the Velker ships. Dozens of ships were destroyed instantly. Hundreds were damaged. Thousands were forced to retreat. The fleet was thrown into chaos. "What was that?" a Velker officer shouted. "A trap," another replied. The commanders realized something too late. Humans had turned their own planet into a weapon. That was their fourth secret. Humans weaponized everything. Even their homes. The Velker fleet pulled back. They regrouped. They were angry, but they were also confused. No species had ever done this before. No species had ever destroyed its own world to kill its enemy. The Velker commanders sent reports to the Empire. "Humans are unstable," they said. "They destroy their own worlds. They cannot be reasoned with." The Empire leaders agreed. They labeled humans as a dangerous species. Not weak. Not soft. Dangerous. That changed everything. But humans were not done. While the Velker fleet was recovering, human forces moved. Not in large fleets. Not in open battle. But in shadows. Small ships. Stealth ships. Silent ships. They did not attack warships. They attacked fuel depots. They attacked supply routes. They attacked communication relays. They did not destroy fleets. They starved them. That was their fifth secret. Humans did not fight the body. They fought the blood. Velker fleets began to run out of fuel. Food shipments were delayed. Ammunition stockpiles disappeared. Command centers lost contact. Systems failed. The Empire did not understand. They had the strongest ships, the best weapons, the largest armies. And yet, they could not move. They could not communicate. They could not fight. The human attacks were invisible. No warnings. No broadcasts. No declarations. Just silence. Then loss. Then more silence. The Velker Empire sent more fleets. More ships. More soldiers. But every fleet lost something. A station. A convoy. A supply hub. The Empire began to bleed. Not quickly, but constantly. That was their sixth secret. Humans were patient killers. Far from the front lines, on Earth, human leaders met in a quiet room. No shouting. No panic. Just calm discussion. "We are losing colonies," one leader said. "Yes," another replied. "But we are gaining time." "How much?" one asked. "Enough," came the answer. They were not trying to win. Not yet. They were trying to learn. They were watching the enemy, studying their patterns, their movements, their habits. Humans had fought many wars before, and they had learned one rule. You do not rush a giant. You bleed it, slowly, carefully, until it falls. That was their seventh secret. Humans learned from every enemy. The Velker Empire began to realize something was wrong. Their victories felt empty. Their losses felt endless. Their confidence began to crack. The Supreme Commander watched reports pile up. Colonies destroyed. Convoys lost. Stations silent. He clenched his claws. "This should not be happening," he said. A commander stepped forward. "Humans do not fight like other species," he said. "How do they fight?" the Supreme Commander demanded. "Like ghosts," the commander replied. The Supreme Commander growled. "Then hunt them," he said. "We are trying," the commander replied. "But they are everywhere and nowhere." The Supreme Commander slammed his claws into the table. "Then destroy their worlds," he said. "We are," the commander replied. "And," the Supreme Commander asked. "They destroy them first," the commander said. Silence filled the room. The Supreme Commander felt something he had not felt in centuries. Uncertainty. Humans were not defending their territory. They were turning it into traps. They were turning loss into weapons. They were turning death into delay. The Empire began to understand something dangerous. Humans did not care about land. They did not care about cities. They did not care about planets. They cared about survival. And survival did not require territory. That was their eighth secret. Humans did not fight for space. They fought for time. And time was on their side. The Supreme Commander ordered a full invasion. All fleets. All sectors. All fronts. End this now, he said. The Empire moved its full force. The largest military action in galactic history. Billions of ships. Trillions of soldiers. They believed this would crush humanity. They believed this would end the war. They believed wrong. Because humans had been waiting for this. Human intelligence networks had tracked every fleet, every route, every supply line, every command center. They had mapped the Empire's entire war machine. Not with spies. Not with hacking. But with patience. Now the map was complete. Human leaders gathered again. This is it, one said. Yes, another replied. They have overcommit. What do we do? One asked. We do what we always do, came the answer. Adapt. Human fleets began to move. Not toward the enemy, but around them. They slipped past. They went deep. They did not fight the front lines. They went for the heart command worlds. Industrial hubs. Communication centers. The Empire did not see it coming. Their attention was on human borders, not their core. By the time they realized it was too late, human ships appeared in the heart of the Velker Empire. Not in large numbers, but in the right places. They did not attack cities. They attacked power grids. They attacked shipyards. They attacked factories. They attacked data centers. They did not destroy life. They destroyed function. The Empire began to collapse. Not because of defeat, but because of paralysis. Nothing worked. Nothing moved. Nothing responded. The Empire's war machine had been turned off. Not with bombs, but with precision. That was their ninth secret. Humans did not destroy systems. They shut them down. The Supreme Commander watched the Empire fall into chaos. What is happening? He demanded. A commander answered. They have cut us off from ourselves, he said. The Supreme Commander felt a cold realization. Humans were not trying to defeat the Empire. They were trying to disable it, to make it unable to fight, unable to rule, unable to exist as it was. This was not war. This was surgery. The Supreme Commander clenched his claws. Find their leaders, he said. Kill them. We cannot locate them, the commander replied. Why not? He demanded. They are not in one place, the commander said. They are everywhere. The Supreme Commander fell silent. He began to understand. Humans were not a government. They were not a fleet. They were not a world. They were a network, a living system, spread across stars. Impossible to destroy all at once. That was their 10th secret. You cannot kill what has no center. Far away, on a quiet human outpost, a young soldier watched the stars. She had never been to Earth. She had never seen the oceans. She had never walked on natural soil. She had been born in space, raised in stations, trained in war. She turned to her commander. Do you think this will end soon? She asked. He looked at the stars. Yes, he said. How? She asked. Not by victory, he replied. Then how? She asked. By understanding, he said. Whose? She asked. Ours, he replied. And theirs. She looked confused. What do they need to understand? She asked. That humans do not stop, he said. That humans do not break, he continued. And that humans do not forget. She nodded slowly. Across the galaxy, the Velker Empire was learning. Not through words, not through diplomacy, but through loss, through failure, through fear. They were learning that humans were not the weakest species. They were not the strongest. They were something worse. They were the species that refused to die. The Velker Empire had always believed in one rule. Power wins. For thousands of years, that rule had never failed them. They had the biggest fleets. They had the strongest weapons. They had the largest armies. They had crushed every enemy that stood against them. But now, something was wrong. Their power was still there. Their fleets were still massive. Their weapons were still deadly. Yet, they were losing. Not losing battles. Losing control. Across their empire, Systems were failing. Fuel shipments vanished. Communication lines went silent. Shipyards stopped working. Entire fleets were left floating, unable to move, unable to fight. The Empire was strong. But strength meant nothing when the body could not move. In the Supreme Command Center, alarms rang constantly. Screens flickered. Maps changed every minute. The Supreme Commander stood at the center, watching his empire slowly unravel. "This is not war," he said. "This is sabotage." A commander stepped forward. "Yes," he said, "but we cannot find the source." The Supreme Commander slammed his claw on the table. "Then find it," he ordered. "We are trying," the commander replied. "But humans do not attack where we expect." The Supreme Commander narrowed his eyes. "Then where do they attack?" he asked. "Everywhere," the commander said. "And nowhere." The Supreme Commander felt anger rise. "Send more fleets," he said. "Lock down all borders. Shut down all travel." "We already have," the commander replied. It has not helped. Silence filled the room. The Supreme Commander had faced many enemies, but he had never faced one like this. Humans were not fighting the Empire. They were unraveling it. Far from the Velker core worlds, on a small human command ship called Silent Dawn, Captain Mara Hayes studied a holographic map. She was young. She was calm. She was dangerous. Not because she enjoyed war, but because she understood it. Around her stood officers from different human worlds. They did not look like soldiers from one nation. They looked like survivors from many. "We have confirmation," an officer said. "Velker Fleet Group 7 is stranded." "Fuel?" Hayes asked. "Gone," the officer replied. "Supply route destroyed." "Communications?" Hayes asked. "Offline," the officer replied. "Defense?" Hayes asked. "Strong," the officer said, "but useless without movement." Hayes nodded. "Then leave them," she said. The officers looked surprised. "Leave them?" one asked. "We can destroy them." "Yes," Hayes replied, "but that is not our goal." "What is our goal?" the officer asked. Hayes looked at the map. "To make them irrelevant," she said. The officers nodded. That was the human strategy. Not to destroy. Not to conquer. But to disable. Humans had learned something long ago. Winning a battle is not the same as winning a war. And winning a war is not the same as ending one. They wanted the war to end. Not in victory, but in surrender. And surrender only happens when fighting becomes impossible. That was their 11th secret. Humans fought to make war pointless. While the Velker Empire struggled to respond, something else happened. Other species began to watch. At first, they had believed the Empire would crush humanity. Now, they were not so sure. Trade routes closed. Borders tightened. Neutral worlds began to prepare defenses. Not against humans. Against chaos. Because chaos was spreading. The Empire's collapse was not silent. It was loud. It was messy. It was dangerous. Entire sectors lost law and order. Pirates returned. Rebels rose. Old enemies resurfaced. The Empire's control weakened. And in that weakness, fear grew. The Galactic Council met again. This time, the hall felt different. Less confident. More tense. Leaders whispered among themselves. Some were afraid of humans. Some were afraid of the Empire. Some were afraid of what would happen if both fell. A small insect-like species leader spoke. "This war is destabilizing the galaxy," he said. "It must be stopped." Another leader replied. "Stopped how?" she asked. "The Empire will not surrender." "And humans will not stop," another said. Silence fell. Finally, one leader spoke the truth. "We are watching the fall of a giant," he said. "And we do not know what will replace it." That was the real fear. Not human power, but human survival. Humans did not seek control. They sought safety. And safety did not require ruling others. It only required removing threats. Back in Velker space, something new began. Human forces started capturing Velker officers. Not killing them, not torturing them, but returning them. One by one, captured commanders were sent back to the Empire. Not as prisoners, but as messengers. Each carried the same message. This war cannot be won. Some commanders ignored it. Some reported it. Some laughed. But a few began to believe it. One such commander was Admiral Cortal. He had fought in hundreds of battles. He had crushed dozens of species. He had never been defeated. And that was the most dangerous kind of species in the galaxy, until now. His fleet had been stranded for weeks. No fuel. No supplies. No communication. No enemy in sight. Just silence. Then one day, a human ship appeared. Not the warship. A transport. It sent a message. Request to dock. Cortal was confused. This is a trap, his officer said. Maybe, Cortal replied. But we have nothing to lose. He allowed the docking. The human ship connected to his flagship. A small group of humans entered. They carried no weapons. No armor. No threats. One human stepped forward. I am Commander Elise Ward, she said. I speak for humanity. Cortal stared at her. Speak, he said. You are stranded, she said. We know. Then finish us, Cortal replied. We will not beg. Ward shook her head. We are not here to kill you, she said. Then why are you here? He demanded. To offer you a choice, she replied. Cortal laughed. What choice? He asked. We are your enemies. Yes, Ward replied. And we do not enjoy killing enemies who cannot fight. Cortal's laughter stopped. What do you want? He asked. Stand down, Ward said. End this war. Cortal stared. You think I have that power? He asked. No, Ward replied. But you have influence. Cortal crossed his arms. And if I refuse? He asked. Ward looked at him calmly. Then you will continue to drift, she said, until your fleet dies. Cortal felt anger rise. You think this is mercy? He asked. No, Ward replied. This is efficiency. Cortal said nothing. You have already lost, Ward continued. Not because we destroyed your fleet. Then why? He asked. Because you cannot fight, she replied. War is not about weapons, she said. It is about the ability to use them. You have no fuel, no supply, no communication. You are not defeated. You are irrelevant. The word struck hard. Irrelevant. Cortal felt something break inside him. Not fear. Not anger. Understanding. What do you want me to do? He asked. Return, Ward said. Tell your leaders the truth. What truth? He asked. That this war cannot be won, she replied. And that every day it continues, more of your empire dies. Cortal stared at her. And if they do not listen? He asked. Ward's eyes were calm. Then we will continue, she said. Continue what? He asked. Removing your ability to fight, she replied. Silence filled the room. Cortal realized something. Humans were not trying to defeat the empire. They were trying to end it as a threat. Without destroying it. Without ruling it. Without replacing it. They did not want power. They wanted safety. That was their 12th secret. Humans did not seek control. They sought peace through exhaustion. Cortal nodded slowly. I will go, he said. Ward nodded. Good, she said. The human ship left. Fuel was transferred to Cortal's fleet. Not enough to fight. Just enough to return home. Cortal felt a strange emotion. Not relief. Not gratitude. But confusion. Why would an enemy help him? The answer was simple. Humans did not see him as an enemy. They saw him as a problem to be solved. And problems could be solved without violence. Meanwhile, on Earth, human leaders watched the war unfold. This is working, one said. Yes, another replied. But slowly. Good, another said. Slow wars end. What about the Empire's full invasion? One asked. They cannot sustain it, came the reply. Why not? Another asked. Because we control time, the answer came. Humans had learned long ago. Time is the most powerful weapon. You can outlast an enemy. You can exhaust an enemy. You can wait. The Velker Empire could not. Their system was built on speed, on power, on control. It could not survive patience. That was their 13th secret. Humans were built for long wars. The Empire was not. As weeks turned into months, the war changed. Not louder, not bloodier, but quieter. Velker fleets stopped moving. Supply routes collapsed. Communication networks failed. Local governors lost contact with the core. Rebellions grew. Not against humans. Against the Empire itself. The Empire began to tear itself apart. The Supreme Commander watched reports come in. His empire was still vast. Still powerful. Still dangerous. But it was no longer united. No longer controlled. No longer stable. "What have they done?" he whispered. A commander replied. "They have turned our strength into weakness," he said. "How?" the Supreme Commander demanded. "They made us move too much," the commander said. "We overextended." "They made us react," the commander continued. "We lost control." "They made us fight everywhere," the commander said. "So we could defend nowhere." The Supreme Commander closed his eyes. He realized the truth. Humans had not defeated the Empire. They had outplayed it. That was their 14th secret. Humans did not fight harder. They fought smarter. Far away, on a human refugee station, a young boy watched ships dock. He had lost his home. His planet was gone. His world destroyed. He asked his mother. "Why did they destroy our planet?" he asked. She held him close. "So we could live," she said. "But our home is gone," he said. "Yes," she replied. "But we are not." He looked up. "Will we get it back?" he asked. She smiled softly. "No," she said. "But we will build another." That was their 15th secret. Humans did not cling to the past. They built the future. The boy watched ships come and go. He did not see fear. He did not see defeat. He saw movement. He saw life. He saw survival. And survival was enough. Back in Velker space, Admiral Cortal returned to the capital. He stood before the Supreme Commander. He spoke honestly. "This war cannot be won," he said. The Supreme Commander growled. "You have been corrupted," he said. "No," Cortal replied. "I have been educated." The Supreme Commander raised his claws. "By the enemy?" he asked. "Yes," Cortal replied. "By reality." The Supreme Commander stared at him. "They are destroying our empire," he said. "No," Cortal replied. "They are removing our ability to destroy them." The Supreme Commander clenched his claws. "That is the same thing," he said. "No," Cortal replied. "It is worse." "Why?" the Supreme Commander asked. "Because they're not trying to rule us," Cortal said. "They're trying to make us harmless." The Supreme Commander was silent. "And when we are harmless?" he asked. "They will stop," Cortal replied. The Supreme Commander shook his head. "No species would stop," he said. "Not when they can win." "That is because most species fight for power," Cortal replied. "And humans?" the Supreme Commander asked. "Humans fight for survival," Cortal said. The Supreme Commander felt something crack. "Survival," he whispered. "Yes," Cortal replied. "And survival does not require conquest." Silence filled the chamber. The Supreme Commander looked at the stars. For the first time in his long life, he felt something new. Not fear, not anger, but doubt. The war no one saw coming was not about battles, not about fleets, not about weapons. It was about control. And humans had taken it, not by force, but by patience, by precision, by refusal to die. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand. The Velker Empire was still standing. Its world still existed. Its fleets still floated in space. Its soldiers still wore armor. But something important was gone. Control. For the first time in thousands of years, the Empire could not control itself. Orders were sent, but not received. Commands were given, but not followed. Power still existed, but it could not be used. And that was worse than defeat. In the capital world of Velker Prime, the Supreme Commander stood alone in his chamber. He looked out through a massive window at the stars beyond. Once, those stars had felt like his. Now they felt distant, silent, cold. A commander entered. "Supreme Commander," he said, "another sector has gone dark." How many? The Supreme Commander asked. 17, the commander replied. Communication lost. Supply lost. Fleet stranded. The Supreme Commander closed his eyes. Any sign of human fleets? He asked. No, the commander replied. That is the problem. The Supreme Commander felt a deep frustration. They are winning without fighting, he said. Yes, the commander replied. And we cannot stop it. The Supreme Commander dismissed him. He remained alone. He thought of all the wars he had fought, all the enemies he had crushed, all the worlds he had taken. None of it prepared him for this, because humans were not trying to conquer. They were trying to end the war by making it useless. That made them something new, something dangerous, something the galaxy had never faced. Far away, on a human ship drifting quietly near a Velker supply route, Commander Elise Ward watched the stars. Her ship was invisible to most sensors. It did not fire weapons. It did not move unless necessary. It waited. Waiting was the human way. An officer approached her. Commander, he said. We have another fleet immobilized. Good, Ward replied. What are your orders? He asked. None, she said. None, he repeated. We let them sit, she replied. The officer frowned. They will starve, he said. Yes, Ward replied. But not today. The officer looked confused. Why wait? He asked. Ward turned to him. Because fear grows in silence, she said. The officer said nothing. Humans had learned that killing was not always the strongest move. Sometimes, letting the enemy live was more powerful. It forced them to think, to question, to doubt. And doubt was deadly. That was their 16th secret. Humans used doubt as a weapon. Across the galaxy, other species watched the war with growing concern. The Velker Empire had been the strongest power for centuries. If it could fall, what else could fall? Some species feared humans. Some feared chaos. Some feared both. The Galactic Council called another emergency meeting. The hall filled once again with alien leaders. But this time, there was no confidence. Only tension. One leader spoke. The Velker Empire is collapsing, he said. Another replied. No, she said. It is not collapsing. It is being hollowed. What does that mean? A third asked. It means the empire still exists, she said. But it no longer functions. Silence followed. Another leader asked the question everyone feared. What happens when the empire falls? No one answered. Finally, one leader spoke softly. Power vacuums never stay empty. That was the real danger. Not humans. Not the empire. But what came after. Some leaders wanted to intervene. Some wanted to attack humans. Some wanted to make alliances. But no one knew how to talk to humans. Because humans were not trying to win. They were trying to survive. And survival did not follow galactic rules. Back on Earth, human leaders met again. They were calm. They were tired. They were focused. The empire is breaking, one leader said. Yes, another replied. But we must not break it. What do you mean? One asked. If the empire collapses, another said, the galaxy will burn. Why? One asked. Because chaos always follows power, came the answer. So what do we do? One asked. We stabilize, another replied. How? One asked. By stopping, another said. Silence filled the room. Stopping, one asked. We are winning. No, another replied. We are surviving. What's the difference? One asked. Winning creates enemies, another replied. Survival creates space. They decided something strange. They decided to slow down. Not stop, not retreat, but slow. They would continue disabling the empire, but they would not destroy it. They would not push it to collapse. They would keep it alive. Weak, but stable. That was their 17th secret. Humans knew when to stop. Meanwhile, in Velker space, Admiral Cortal began to speak with other commanders. Quietly, carefully, he told them the truth. This war cannot be won, he said. Some believed him. Some did not. Some were angry. Some were afraid. But all were confused. Why won't they finish us? one commander asked. Cortel answered honestly. Because they don't want to rule us, he said. Then what do they want? Another asked. To be left alone, Cortel replied. Silence followed. That's it, one asked. Yes, Cortel replied. That's it. Some commanders laughed. Some shook their heads. Some began to think. The idea that a species would fight a war just to be left alone was strange. Most species fought to gain something. Land. Power. Resources. Humans fought to protect their future. And their future did not include ruling others. That made them dangerous. And unpredictable, because you cannot bribe someone who does not want your power. You cannot threaten someone who is already ready to lose everything. That was their 18th secret. Humans were immune to empire logic. While commanders debated, rebellions grew across the empire. Not against humans. Against Velker rule. Worlds demanded independence. Sectors refused orders. Local leaders took control. The empire fractured. The supreme commander watched his empire tear itself apart. This is their doing, he said. A commander replied. Yes, he said. But not directly. How? The supreme commander asked. They removed our ability to respond, the commander said. The rest followed. The supreme commander felt something heavy settle in his chest. Regret. He had started this war. He had believed humans were weak. He had believed they would fall. Instead, they had reshaped the war itself. He realized something painful. He had not underestimated their weapons. He had underestimated their minds. That was their 19th secret. Humans were thinkers before fighters. One night, on a small human station, a group of refugees gathered. They were from different worlds, different cultures, different languages. But they were all human. They shared food. They shared stories. They shared loss. A woman spoke. My world is gone, she said. I watched it burn. A man replied. My world too, he said. A child asked. Why do we let them destroy our homes, he asked. An older man answered. So they could not use them against us, he said. But now we have nothing, the child said. The older man smiled. No, he said. We have each other. That was their 20th secret. Humans were not built on land. They were built on people. Land could be destroyed. Cities could be burned. But people could move. People could rebuild. People could survive. That was something no empire could erase. Meanwhile, Commander Elise Ward received a message. Not from Earth. Not from human command. From a Velker officer. Admiral Cortel. The message was short. Request communication. Ward stared at the screen. Open channel, she said. Cortel appeared on the screen. His posture was different. Less proud. Less certain. Commander Ward, he said. I request a meeting. Why? Ward asked. Because my empire is dying, Cortel said. And? Ward asked. And I want to know if you intend to kill it, he replied. Ward looked at him calmly. No, she said. Then why are you destroying it, he asked. We are not destroying it, Ward replied. We are removing its ability to destroy us. That is the same thing, Cortel said. No, Ward replied. It is not. Explain, he said. You built your empire on control, Ward said. On fear. On power. Yes, Cortel replied. That is how empires survive. No, Ward said. That is how empires grow. And survival, he asked. Survival, Ward said, comes from balance. Cortel stared. You are not conquering, he said. You are correcting. Ward nodded. Yes, she said. And when the correction is complete, he asked. We stop, Ward replied. And what happens to us, he asked. You rebuild, she said. Under human rule, he asked. No, Ward replied. Then under whose rule, he asked. Your own, Ward replied. Silence followed. Cortel looked confused. You weaken us, he said. Then you leave. Yes, Ward replied. Why, he asked. Because we do not want your empire, she said. We want our future. Cortel felt something strange. Not anger. Not fear. Hope. But hope mixed with shame. You could rule the galaxy, he said. Yes, Ward replied. But then we would become what we fought. Silence filled the channel. You are different, Cortel said. Yes, Ward replied. We had to be. Why? He asked. Because our planet tried to kill us, she said. Our history tried to kill us. Our wars tried to kill us. And, he asked. And we survived, she said. Silence again. Cortel spoke softly. What do you want from me? He asked. Help us end this war, Ward replied. How? He asked. By convincing your leaders to stop, she said. They will not listen, he replied. They will, Ward said. Because soon they will have no choice. Cortel nodded slowly. I will try, he said. Good, Ward replied. The channel closed. Ward leaned back. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. Because the war was not over. Not yet. But it had changed. The enemy, who would not conquer, was teaching the galaxy something new. Power did not always come from control. Strength did not always come from force. Victory did not always come from destruction. Sometimes, it came from restraint. That was their 21st secret. Humans were strong. The galaxy believed the war was slowing. The Velker Empire was weak. Human forces were quiet. The fighting had faded into silence. Many thought the worst was over. They were wrong. Because silence in human war was never peace. It was preparation. Deep inside Velker space, on a massive artificial world called Carthos Prime, the Empire gathered its final strength. Carthos Prime was not a planet. It was a weapon. A battle station the size of a moon. It had been under construction for decades. Hidden. Protected. Secret. Even many Velker leaders did not know it existed. Its purpose was simple. End wars. Forever. It could destroy stars. Not ships. Not cities. Stars. Entire systems could be erased in seconds. The Empire called it the final light, because wherever it shined, nothing remained. The Supreme Commander stood inside its command chamber. Screens showed fleets forming around the station. Energy cores glowed like small suns. Weapons charged. This war ends now, he said. A commander stepped forward. Our empire is weak, he said. But this weapon will restore fear. Fear is control, the Supreme Commander replied. Yes, the commander said. And control is survival. The Supreme Commander nodded. We will strike Earth, he said. Silence filled the chamber. Earth? A commander asked. Their home world. Yes, the Supreme Commander replied. We will end their species at the source. Some commanders hesitated. That will provoke total retaliation, one said. The Supreme Commander turned to him. There is nothing left to retaliate, he said. We will erase their future. Across human space, no one knew about Carthos Prime. Not Earth. Not human command. Not even Commander Elise Ward. But humans did not need to know about the weapon, because they already knew something else. The Velker Empire would not stop. Not willingly. Not quietly. Not peacefully. It would fight until it had no ability left to fight. And humans were prepared for that. That was their 20-second secret. Humans planned for the enemy's final move. On a quiet human station near the edge of Velker space, a small team gathered. They were not soldiers. They were not generals, but enough to stop. And that might be their greatest power of all. They were engineers, scientists, analysts. Their job was not to fight. Their job was to predict. One of them spoke. Our models show a probability spike, she said. A spike in what? Another asked. In extreme action, she replied. The Empire is cornered. What kind of extreme action? He asked. An attempt at total annihilation, she said. Silence followed. Do we know where? Another asked. No, she replied. But we know it's coming. The lead analyst stood. Then we proceed to Phase Black, he said. Phase Black, one asked. Yes, he replied. Total unknown threat protocol. Silence filled the room. Phase Black had only been used once in human history. And that time, humanity had nearly gone extinct. Across human space, deep systems activated. Hidden networks woke. Old satellites turned. Long-forgotten programs came online. Human defenses were not loud, not visible, but they were everywhere. That was their 23rd secret. Humans built shadows before walls. Meanwhile, the Velker Empire prepared its final strike. The final light powered up. Energy levels reached critical mass. The station's weapon core glowed brighter than any star. The Supreme Commander watched. "Set target," he ordered. "Target?" the weapons officer asked. "Earth," the Supreme Commander replied. Coordinates were entered. The weapon began to charge. This was not a beam, not a missile, not a bomb. It was a gravity weapon. It would collapse Earth's star, not Earth itself. The sun. Without a sun, Earth would freeze. Die. Disappear. The human species would lose its home, its history, its future. All in one moment. "Weapon charging," the officer said. "Time to firing?" the Supreme Commander asked. 7 minutes, the officer replied. The Supreme Commander smiled. "For the Empire," he said. For the first time in a long while, he felt confident. Meanwhile, on Earth, nothing changed. People went to work. Children went to school. Ships moved, cities lived. No one knew death was approaching. No one knew the sun itself was being targeted. No one knew the galaxy was about to change forever. Except one system noticed. Not a military system. Not a defense system. Not a weapon. A weather monitoring satellite. It detected a strange gravitational fluctuation. Tiny. Weak. Almost invisible. But human systems noticed everything. The data was sent. The data was analyzed. The data triggered a warning. Phase black. Human command centers lit up. "What's happening?" a leader asked. "We don't know," another replied. "But something big just activated." "Where?" one asked. "Deep Velker space," another replied. Silence filled the room. "What kind of activation?" one asked. "Star-level energy," another replied. The room froze. "Star-level?" one whispered. "Yes," another replied. "Something capable of affecting a star." Everyone understood. Earth's sun. Human leaders moved fast. Not with panic. With precision. "What's our response time?" one asked. 6 minutes, another replied. "Against what?" one asked. "We don't know," another replied. Silence. Then one leader spoke. "Activate the shield." Another leader hesitated. "Which one?" he asked. "The last one," the first replied. Silence filled the room. "You mean?" one asked. "Yes," he replied. "That one. The shield. The one no one believed could work. The one that had never been tested. The one built for a threat no one had ever seen. The one designed not to stop ships, but to protect stars." That was their 24th secret. Humans had prepared for the loss of their sun. Deep inside Earth's core, ancient systems activated. Not ancient in age, ancient in design. Built generations ago. Hidden. Silent. Waiting. Massive gravitational stabilizers powered up. Solar field anchors deployed. Artificial gravity wells formed around the sun. Not to stop it, but to hold it together. To resist collapse. To resist manipulation. The shield was not visible. Not from Earth. Not from space. But it was there. Invisible. Silent. Ready. Meanwhile, on Carthos Prime, the weapon reached full charge. "Weapon ready," the officer said. "Fire," the Supreme Commander ordered. The weapon activated. A wave of distorted gravity surged through space. Not light, not sound, not energy, but force. It traveled faster than ships, faster than signals. It reached Earth's sun in seconds. The sun shuddered. Its surface rippled. Its core compressed. Gravity twisted. Time bent. If not for the shield, the sun would have collapsed. Earth would have frozen. Humanity would have ended. But the shield held. Not easily. Not perfectly. But enough. The sun stabilized. It did not collapse. It did not explode. It survived. On Earth, no one noticed. The sky did not change. The sun still shined. Life continued. But human systems screamed. "That was it," one analyst said. That was the attack. Did it work? One leader asked. No, another replied. The sun held. Silence filled the room. Then a leader spoke. They tried to kill our star, he said. Yes, another replied. Then this war just changed, he said. Yes, another replied. Not with anger, not with fear, but with certainty. The rules had changed. Back on Carthos Prime, alarms sounded. What happened? The Supreme Commander demanded. The weapon fired, the officer said. But the target did not collapse. The Supreme Commander stared. That is impossible, he said. The sun is still stable, the officer replied. How? The Supreme Commander demanded. We don't know, the officer said. Our weapon worked. But their star survived? The Supreme Commander asked. Yes, the officer replied. Silence filled the chamber. For the first time in centuries, the Supreme Commander felt something he had never felt. Not fear, not anger, not hatred, helplessness. How could they prepare for this? He whispered. The answer was simple. Humans prepared for extinction. Always. That was their 25th secret. Humans planned for the end of everything. The Supreme Commander's confidence shattered. The weapon that was supposed to end the war had failed. Not because it was weak, but because humans had anticipated it. He realized something terrifying. There was no final weapon, no final strike, no final move. Humans had already planned for all of them. This is not a war, he said quietly. This is a test, a commander replied. A test of what? He asked. Of who breaks first, the commander said. The Supreme Commander looked at the stars. And who is breaking? He asked. Silence answered. Meanwhile, Commander Elise Ward received a priority message. Their final weapon failed, the message said. Ward closed her eyes. They tried to kill our son, she said. Yes, the message replied. Ward felt something shift inside her. Not anger, not fear. Resolve. Then we end this, she said. How? The message asked. Not with weapons, Ward replied. With truth. The message paused. Explain, it said. They just crossed a line, Ward replied. One no empire survives. What line? The message asked. The line between war and extinction, Ward said. Silence followed. They showed the galaxy who they really are, Ward continued. Now we show the galaxy who we really are. What do you mean? The message asked. We reveal everything, Ward said. Everything, the message asked. Yes, Ward replied. Every trap, every strike, every move. Silence. You want transparency? The message asked. Yes, Ward replied. We stop fighting in the shadows. Why? The message asked. Because the shadows kept us safe, Ward replied. But the light will end the war. That was their 26th secret. Humans knew when to reveal their hand. Across the galaxy, human signals lit up. Not threats, not warnings, not demands. Truth. They broadcast evidence of the star attack. They showed data. They showed recordings. They showed intent. They showed that the Velker Empire had tried to destroy a star. Not a fleet. Not a city. A star. The galaxy watched. The Galactic Council watched. Neutral worlds watched. Even Velker citizens watched. The reaction was immediate. Shock. Fear. Anger. Disbelief. Then, understanding. The Empire had crossed a line no species had crossed before. They had attempted to end a species at its source. Not defeat. Not control. Erasure. That changed everything. Velker worlds erupted. Protests. Rebellions. Refusals. Soldiers refused orders. Governors demanded answers. Citizens demanded peace. The Empire began to fracture faster than ever. Not from human attacks. From internal collapse. That was their 27th secret. Humans turned truth into a weapon. The Supreme Commander watched the broadcasts. His people were turning against him. His commanders were questioning him. His empire was unraveling. He whispered, "What have I done?" He had started a war. He had tried to end a species. And now, he was ending his own. The war no one expected had reached its turning point. Not through fire, not through blood, not through destruction, but through exposure. The trap no one expected was not a weapon, not a fleet, not a battle. It was truth. And truth was stronger than any empire. The galaxy had seen wars. It had seen destruction. It had seen entire worlds burn. But it had never seen something like this. Not a battle, not an explosion, not a fleet, a choice. After the truth was revealed, everything changed. The Velker Empire was no longer feared. It was questioned. Its citizens no longer trusted their leaders. Its soldiers no longer trusted their orders. Its commanders no longer trusted the war. The Empire had tried to destroy a star. That was not war. That was extinction. And extinction was something the galaxy could not forgive. Across Velker worlds, protests filled the streets. Not against humans. Against their own rulers. People demanded answers. They demanded peace. They demanded change. The Empire began to tear itself apart from the inside. The Supreme Commander watched the collapse. He sat alone in his chamber, and oh guards. No advisors. No confidence. Only silence. For the first time in his long life, he felt something new.
Shame.
Not because he lost, but because he had tried to win the wrong way. A door opened. Admiral Cortel entered. The Supreme Commander looked at him. "You were right," he said. Cortel did not respond. "I did not listen," the Supreme Commander continued. "And now my empire is dying." Cortel spoke quietly. "No," he said. "Your empire is changing." The Supreme Commander shook his head. "No," he said. "It is ending." Cortel stepped closer. "Empires do not end," he said. "They transform." "Into what?" the Supreme Commander asked. "Something better," Cortel replied. "Or something worse." The Supreme Commander laughed softly. "I chose worse," he said. "Not yet," Cortel replied. "You still have a choice." The Supreme Commander looked up. "What choice?" he asked. "To stop," Cortel replied. Silence filled the room. "To end the war," Cortel continued. "To admit what you did. To accept responsibility. To change." The Supreme Commander closed his eyes. "You think that will save the Empire?" he asked. "No," Cortel replied. "I think it will save your people." The Supreme Commander felt the weight of centuries. "All my life," he said, "I believed power was control." "And now?" Cortel asked. "And now," he said, "I see that control destroyed us." Silence filled the room again. "What would humans do?" the Supreme Commander asked. "They would choose survival," Cortel replied. "Not victory?" "No," Cortel said. "Survival." The Supreme Commander took a deep breath. "Then I will choose survival," he said. Across human space, Commander Elise Ward watched the reports. "The Empire is breaking," one officer said. "Yes," Ward replied. "But breaking does not mean ending." "What do you mean?" the officer asked. "Broken things can become dangerous," Ward replied. "Why?" the officer asked. "Because they're afraid," Ward replied. "Afraid of what?" the officer asked. "Of losing everything," Ward replied. Ward stood. "We need to give them something else to hold on to," she said. "What?" the officer asked. "A future," Ward replied. "How?" the officer asked. "By offering peace," Ward replied. The officer hesitated. "They tried to kill our son," he said. "Yes," Ward replied. "And we survived." "So?" he asked. "So now we decide what kind of species we are," Ward replied. "Which kind?" he asked. "The kind that ends wars," she said. "Not the kind that wins them." That was their 28th secret. Humans fought to end wars, not win them. Ward sent a message. Not a threat. Not a demand. An offer. To the Velker Empire, humanity offers a ceasefire. "We will stop all operations if you do the same. We will meet. We will talk. We will decide the future together." The message was broadcast across the galaxy. Some were shocked. Some were angry. Some were relieved. The Supreme Commander received the message. He stared at it. "They offer peace," he said. "Yes," Cortal replied. After everything I did, he said. Yes, Cortal replied. Why? The Supreme Commander asked. Because they are not fighting for revenge, Cortal said. They are fighting for survival. Silence filled the chamber. The Supreme Commander stood. Prepare a response, he said. What response? Cortal asked. The Supreme Commander looked at him. We accept, he said. Across the Empire, the response spread. Ceasefire. Some commanders refused. Some ignored it. But many followed it. Fleets stopped. Weapons powered down. Attacks ended. Not everywhere. Not instantly. But enough. Enough for the galaxy to breathe. On a neutral world, a meeting place was prepared. Not a battlefield. Not a fortress. A station. Simple. Open. Unarmed. The Galactic Council watched. The galaxy watched. For the first time in history, humans and Belker leaders would sit at the same table. Not as enemies. Not as conquerors. But as survivors. Commander Elise Ward arrived first. She did not wear armor. She did not carry a weapon. She wore a simple uniform. The Supreme Commander arrived next. He did not wear his battle armor. He wore ceremonial robes. Not as a warrior. As a leader. They faced each other. Not with anger. Not with fear. With exhaustion. You tried to end my species, Ward said. Yes, the Supreme Commander replied. Why? She asked. Because I was afraid, he replied. Silence followed. Afraid of what? Ward asked. Of losing control, he replied. And now, she asked. Now I am afraid of losing my people, he replied. Ward nodded. That fear is valid, she said. The Supreme Commander looked at her. You should hate me, he said. Yes, Ward replied. But hate does not build futures. Silence filled the room. What do you want? The Supreme Commander asked. Ward answered simply. Peace, she said. On what terms? He asked. Ward paused. Not our terms, she said. Not your terms. Then whose? He asked. Our children's, she replied. The Supreme Commander was silent. You destroyed our worlds, he said. Yes, Ward replied. You killed our people, he said. Yes, Ward replied. You tried to erase us, he said. Yes, Ward replied. And you still offer peace? He asked. Yes, Ward replied. Why? He asked. Because extinction must never be answered with extinction, Ward replied. Silence filled the room. The Supreme Commander felt something heavy in his chest. Guilt. But also, relief. What does peace look like? He asked. It looks like this, Ward replied. She activated a display. It showed Velker systems, human systems, trade routes, shared borders. First, she said, we end all military operations between us. Second, she said, we restore communication. Third, she said, we begin rebuilding worlds. Together. The Supreme Commander stared. You would help us rebuild? He asked. Yes, Ward replied. Why? He asked. Because broken neighbors are dangerous neighbors, she replied. Stable neighbors are safe ones. The Supreme Commander nodded slowly. And in return, he asked. You disarm your star weapon programs, Ward replied. You dismantle the finalite, and you agree never to target a star again. Silence followed. That weapon is our greatest power, he said. No, Ward replied. It is your greatest weakness. The Supreme Commander looked away. Because it almost destroyed you, Ward continued. Not us. Silence filled the room. The Supreme Commander spoke softly. You are not like other species, he said. No, Ward replied. We survived other species. Silence. What happens to my empire? He asked. That depends on your people, Ward replied. We will not rule you, she continued. We will not control you. We will not replace you. But we will hold you accountable. How? He asked. By truth, Ward replied. By history. By law. Silence. And if my people refuse peace, he asked. Ward met his eyes. Then we continue, she said. Continue what? He asked. Removing your ability to fight, she replied. Silence again. The The Supreme Commander realized something. This was not a threat. It was a fact. Humans did not threaten. They informed. What choice do I really have? He asked. Ward answered honestly.
Two, she said.
Which? He asked. Survive with change, she said. Or disappear without it. The Supreme Commander closed his eyes.
He thought of his people,
His worlds.
his history.
His mistakes. He thought of the future. One future was fire. The other was uncertain. He chose uncertainty. I accept your terms, he said. Silence filled the room. Then something incredible happened. Commander Elise Ward stood. And she bowed. Not deeply. Not dramatically. But sincerely. Then welcome to peace, she said. The Supreme Commander was stunned. You bow to me? He asked. I bow to the choice you made, she replied. Not the power you held. The Supreme Commander felt something he had not felt in centuries. Respect. Across the galaxy, the news spread.
Ceasefire. Treaty.
Reconstruction. The war was ending. Not with a victory. Not with a defeat. But with a decision. Some were angry.
Some were relieved.
Some were confused. But all were watching. On human worlds, people celebrated quietly. Not with fireworks. Not with parades. But with rest. They were tired. They had lost homes. They had lost worlds. They had lost people. But they had not lost themselves. That was their 29th secret. Humans did not lose their identity in war. On Velker worlds, reactions were mixed. Some felt betrayed. Some felt saved. Some felt hopeful. Some felt ashamed. But something had changed. For the first time, they were not living under fear. They were living under possibility. And possibility was dangerous. But also powerful. The Supreme Commander returned to his world. He stood before his people. He spoke honestly. I made a mistake, he said. I tried to destroy a species. I almost destroyed us. Silence filled the hall. I choose peace, he said. Not because we are weak, but because we are tired. And because our children deserve a future. The people listened. Some cried. Some shouted. Some stood silently. But something new began. Not unity. Not agreement. But conversation. And conversation was the first step to change. That was their 30th secret. Humans taught the galaxy how to stop fighting. The choice that changed the galaxy was not made by humans. It was made by their enemy. But humans had made that choice possible. And now, the war was almost over. Almost. The war had ended. At least, that is what the galaxy believed. Fleets had stopped moving. Weapons had powered down. Borders had grown quiet. But silence after war was never truly peace. It was something fragile. Something new. Something that could break. Humans knew this. They had learned it the hard way. Across Earth and human colonies, people tried to return to normal life. Cities rebuilt. Ships repaired. Families reunited. But deep inside every human mind, there was one thought. It almost ended everything. Not a city. Not a world. Everything. And that thought did not fade. Commander Elise Ward stood on a balcony, overlooking Earth.
The sun shined.
The sky was clear. The world was alive. She knew how close it had come to disappearing. A single choice. A single moment. A single failure. That was all it would have taken. She turned as an officer approached. The reconstruction reports are coming in, he said. How bad? Ward asked. Worse than expected, he replied. But survivable. Ward nodded. And the Velker? She asked. They are cooperating, he replied. Most of them. Most. Ward asked. Some groups refuse peace, he said. They believe the Empire should have fought to the end. Ward closed her eyes. There will always be those who want the past, she said. Yes, he replied. But the future does not belong to them. Ward nodded. That is why we cannot stop watching, she said. Meanwhile, deep in Velker space, change was slow. The Empire was not united. Not yet. Not truly. Some worlds welcomed peace. Some feared it. Some hated humans. Some blamed their own leaders. But one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same. The Supreme Commander had stepped down. Not by force.
By choice.
He believed his presence would prevent healing.
So he left.
Not into exile. Not into hiding. But into silence. He disappeared from public life. Leadership passed to a council. Not one ruler. Not one voice. Many voices. Different worlds. Different views. Different hopes. The empire had become something new. Not an empire. A union. And unions were harder to control, but easier to live in. That was the 31st secret. Humans did not destroy empires. They changed them. On a neutral world, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Not to discuss war. Not to discuss weapons. But to discuss something the galaxy had never faced before. What to do with a species that had tried to destroy a star. The council chamber was full. Hundreds of species. Thousands of representatives. All watching. All listening. All afraid. The chairperson spoke. "We are here," she said, "to discuss the unthinkable. The use of star-level weapons." Silence filled the chamber. "This is not about humans," she continued. "This is not about Velker. This is about the future of life in this galaxy." Silence again. "If one species can attempt to destroy a star," she said, "then no world is safe." A representative stood. "We must ban such weapons," he said. Another stood. "Bans do not stop desperate species," she said. Another stood. "Then we must destroy all existing star weapons," he said. Another stood. "And who decides which weapons are allowed?" she asked. The chamber filled with voices. Arguments.
Fear.
Uncertainty. Then a new voice spoke. A human voice. Commander Elise Ward had been invited. Not as a leader. Not as a conqueror. As a witness. "Humans request the floor," the chairperson said. Ward stood. She did not speak loudly. She did not speak emotionally. She spoke clearly. "Humanity does not support star-level weapons," she said. Silence. "We have built them," she continued. "And we have destroyed them." Silence. "We do not believe any species should have the power to erase a star," she said. Silence. "Not even ourselves," she said. The chamber shifted. Some were shocked. Some were confused. Some were suspicious. Ward continued. "We are not here to control the galaxy," she said. "We are not here to rule. We are not here to punish. We are here to warn." Silence filled the chamber. "We survived an extinction attempt," she said. "Not because we were stronger, but because we were prepared." Silence. "But preparation is not protection," she continued. "Not for everyone." Silence. "Someone else might not survive." Silence. "And next time, there may be no shield." Silence. Ward looked at the council. "Peace without limits is temporary," she said. "Power without rules is extinction." Silence. "We propose a galaxy-wide agreement," she said. "A total ban on star destruction weapons. Not just in use. In design. In construction. In research." Silence. "And we propose shared monitoring," she said. "Not by one species. By all." Silence. "And we propose consequences," she said, "for any species that violates this agreement." Silence. "Not punishment. Not revenge. Isolation," she said. "Loss of trust. Loss of cooperation." Silence. "Because a species willing to destroy a star cannot be trusted to live among others." Silence filled the chamber. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then one representative stood. "We agree," he said. Another stood. "So do we," she said. Another stood. "Yes," he said. Another stood. "Yes," she said. One by one, voices joined. Not because humans demanded it. Not because humans forced it. Because fear had united the galaxy. Fear of extinction. That was the 30-second secret. Humans united the galaxy through survival, not domination. The agreement was signed. Not that day. Not quickly. Not easily. But it began. The first law of star safety was born. Across the galaxy, news spread. Star weapons were now forbidden. Not just discouraged. Forbidden. Not by one empire, by all. The galaxy had learned. But learning did not erase the past. On Velker worlds, extremists still existed. Not many, but enough. They believed peace was weakness. They believed humans should have been destroyed. They believed the Empire had surrendered its honor. They did not accept the new world. And they planned to change it. Deep in a hidden system, far from Velker authority, a group gathered. They were not soldiers. They were not citizens. They were loyalists. They believed in the old empire. In control. In fear. In power. They had stolen something. Not a weapon. Not a ship. Something worse. Data. Blueprints. The designs of the Finalite. The star weapon. They did not have the resources to build it. Not fully. But they did not need to. They believed one thing. If we cannot rule the galaxy, their leader said, then no one should. Silence filled the room. We will not win, he continued. But we can end. They did not seek victory. They sought destruction. That was the 33rd secret. Some beings did not want power. They wanted silence. Meanwhile, human monitoring systems detected something. Not a weapon. Not an attack. A pattern. A familiar pattern. Commander Ward, an officer said. We detected unauthorized research activity. Where? Ward asked. Former Velker space, he replied. Star weapon research signatures. Silence filled the room. Are you sure? Ward asked. Yes, he replied. How many, she asked. Unknown, he replied. But it's small. Small is enough, Ward said. Silence. They're violating the agreement, the officer said. Yes, Ward replied. But worse, she continued. They're trying to revive extinction. Silence. What do we do? The officer asked. Ward thought. Not of war. Not of attack. Not of punishment. She thought of prevention. We go, she said. Go, the officer asked. Yes, she replied. But not with fleets. Then how? He asked. With proof, she replied. With transparency. With unity. Silence. We don't stop them alone, she said. We stop them together. That was the 34th secret. Humans never fought extinction alone. Ward sent a message. Not to human fleets. To the Galactic Council. To the Velker Union. To every signatory of the Star Safety Agreement. Extinction-level research detected, the message said. Location provided. Joint response requested. The galaxy responded. Not with hesitation. Not with doubt. With action. For the first time in history, a joint fleet formed. Not under one flag. Not under one leader. Under a shared purpose. Not victory. Prevention. Ships arrived. Not warships alone. Science vessels. Monitoring ships. Diplomatic ships. Peacekeeping forces. All together. They surrounded the hidden system. Not to destroy it. To contain it. To isolate it. To stop the research. Inside the system, the Loyalists realized too late. They were not facing humans. They were facing the galaxy. Their leader stared at the screens. Impossible, he whispered. How did they know? He did not understand. He did not need to. His plan had failed. The joint fleet did not fire. They did not attack. They transmitted. We know what you're doing, the message said. Stop. Stand down. You are violating galactic law. Silence followed. The Loyalists hesitated. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to flee. Some wanted to surrender. Their leader spoke. They will not fire, he said. They are afraid. But he was wrong. They were not afraid. They were united. We will not attack, the message continued. But we will not leave. Your system is isolated. No ships in. No ships out. No supplies. No communication. You can surrender. You can shut down. You can choose life. Silence filled the hidden base. Days passed. Then weeks. Supplies ran low. Power failed. Systems shut down. One by one, the Loyalists surrendered. Not because they were defeated. Because they were alone. That was the 35th secret. Isolation was stronger than destruction. The crisis ended. Not with explosions. Not with blood. With surrender. The galaxy had passed its first test. Not of war. Of prevention. Commander Elise Ward watched the reports.
They stopped, the officer said.
Yes, Ward replied. No shots fired, he said. Yes, Ward replied. No casualties, he said. Yes, Ward replied. Silence. That's it, he asked. Ward nodded. That's it, she said. The officer looked confused.
That was too easy, he said.
Ward looked at the stars.
No, she said.
That was too hard. Hard how, he asked.
To not fight, she replied.
Silence. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Not from war. From near extinction. From the edge of silence. And that lesson would never be forgotten. Because every species now understood one truth. Not all wars are fought with weapons. Some are fought with choices. Some with unity. Some with restraint. Some with courage. The warning the galaxy would never forget was not written in fire. It was written in survival. And the galaxy would carry it forward. Forever.